Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Friday Night Live. My name is Zaffar Iqbal, and you're listening to Inspire FM 105.1 FM, broadcasting to Luton and the surrounding areas, and also through partner radio stations throughout UK, in Peterborough, in Derby, Sheffield, etc., and globally through our social media, website, and the internet, inshallah. I hope you're listening to the radio today. Again, if you don't know or if you haven't heard, next week, and I'm keeping the dates very loose, next week is the start of Ramadan. And as is traditional, before Ramadan, we talk about moon sighting, because moon sighting is what decides when Ramadan will start. And as usual, there's lots to talk about, lots to debate, lots of discussions around when Ramadan will be, when will be Eid, etc. We've got some people who've done or are doing lots of research into this particular subject, the subject of moon sighting. It shouldn't need study, but it does. It does have study, and it leads to, I guess, debates and discussions in terms of what day constitutes the start of the month, because the Islamic calendar is based on sighting of the moon, and sighting of the moon is something which is seen as an obstacle in the UK, being a fairly cloudy country, right, where the sighting of the moon is seen as being a difficult topic. So we're going to have quite a few guests on topic. This is a 1-hour show. Hopefully you'll stay with us for the whole hour. I promise you it's going to be fascinating. You're going to hear lots of facts, and you're going to go away and you're going to fully understand, inshallah, why there is a difference of opinion within the community in terms of when to start Ramadan. So I want to welcome, in not any particular order, I'm going to welcome Shemanara Haq. She's the coordinator at the New Crescent Society. Assalamu alaikum, Shemanara.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm also going to welcome, Jazakallah khair, shukriya, no problem. Imad Ahmad is the director and founder of the New Crescent Society.
Assalamu alaikum, how are you? Great to see you.
Alhamdulillah, great to see you again, inshallah. And if I can also welcome Asif Ali, he's also a coordinator at the New Crescent Society. And finally, if I can welcome Shaykh Suliman Gani, who's the director of Khalil Institute and Wifaqul Islam. We should have them shortly on our screen. We may not have the technology to display them all in one go, but inshallah, bear with us. They're here, they are listening. So if I can start off the discussions, let's start off with yourself, Imad. Are we going to have a single day start for Ramadan, or is it going to be split? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to answer your question, but before I answer, I just want to say I'm so happy to be here on Friday Night Live on Inspire Radio FM. And I want to say, alhamdulillah, this topic has led to many media organizations contacting me. Mm-hmm. By this time, I've been on BBC, Channel 4, Sky News, this, that, whatever. But nothing is more exciting to me than something like Inspire FM. Because Absolutely. You go on BBC, you give them 30-second soundbite, it's nice. But the community radio and what you're doing is you're allowing a serious discussion where our community listen and we get enlightened, I hope, by the end of it.
Inshallah. That's the objective. That's the objective, to create more light than heat, inshallah. I know this topic creates a lot of heat as well, yeah, but light is the intention, inshallah, today.
The light of the moon, inshallah.
Indeed, absolutely. So your thoughts. Saturday, Sunday, Friday. What do you reckon?
The answer is, I'm going to tell you a straightforward answer.
Yeah,
it's unlikely that Ramadan will begin on the same dates. It's unlikely that Ramadan will end on the same dates. And I've looked at predicted moon chart visibility for the next decade, and it's unlikely that it will be on the same date for a decade.
Inshallah.
So this problem won't go away unless we do something about it.
Indeed. We're going to get to that in a minute. I want to get Shaykh Suliman Gani's view on it as well. Shaykh Suliman, what are your thoughts? Are we going to have a single date for start of Ramadan or not? Or what's your hope and opinion?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Are you saying that we are live already?
Yes, you are live.
Subhanallah. We are here to inspire with Radio Inspire, mashallah.
Absolutely here to inspire, inshallah.
So, Jazakallah khairan. Yeah, what I personally feel that this year we may not be commencing Ramadan on one date, given that there will be reports that will come. And the main issue that we have in the challenge, as has always been, there are those who have part of the criteria is to follow the Saudi dates, and we are expecting Saudi to declare one day before the actual sighting of the crescent moon. So that is the reason why we from experience and from history of the Saudi dating system, they will commence Ramadan on the 1st of March, and those who are doing the local sighting and the regional sighting, they will commence the Ramadan on the 2nd of March. This is the predictions and expected dates for the commencement of Ramadan. Local and regional sighting will be on one date, and those who are following Saudi will be the day before.
Right. Okay. So there's three distinct comments you made regarding starts, basically. So there's Saudi sighting, local and regional sighting. We're going to dig down deeply into those. So again, from your experience in the UK, and I guess what we've experienced so far in Luton is usually 2 days. Basically, it's usually either Saudi and then the other, right? So I think you categorize the other as local versus regional. So can you expand on what local is and what regional is, please?
Yeah, now we have those who also follow the global sighting. So there are three positions on moon sighting: local, regional, and global.
Right.
So global. So basically, what we can explain from this point is there are those who follow the regional sighting. The challenge that it is that they will encourage and ask people to do the sighting here locally. And if that hilal and crescent is not sighted here in the UK, they will go to the closest country, which is Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really the regional sighting. Is they would look and take the sighting reports from Morocco, given that Morocco has over 270 locations where they do naked eye sightings for every Islamic month. So yes, that is. But the challenge is that even though there are those who follow the opinion of regional sighting, it has been found that they also may go globally when they take a hilal from anywhere, like how they have taken previously from South Africa.
Right.
Now,
Right,
even
okay.
though South Africa has a track record of doing sightings every month, but then if you go beyond and in the southern hemisphere, and we are in the UK, so that is it is simply similar to global sighting. But the difference is, like for example, they will not take the reports from any country on our west, like the moon in America will be sighted, but their sightings will be 8 hours after the UK sunset time, which is our next day. And that is the reason why they we only take the reports of sighting of countries on our east and not those countries that are on the west of the UK. I mean, this is a slight issue, reason why it cannot go against, it's like saying, if in the UK we went out to do the sighting of the crescent moon, you cannot wait 8 hours for America and those countries to declare it, because there will be a sighting there in those countries. But from a Sharia perspective, you cannot wait another day to declare your Islamic month. It has to be in your own region, own locality.
Right. Okay. So I think I want to go back to Imad. So can I ask if there's anybody who wants to come in and make a comment on a particular, a response, etc. Please just jump in. I'm going to go around and make sure everyone's got an opportunity to talk on this topic. I'm not quite sure exactly the expertise, especially of the New Crescent Society guys. So if there's a particular technical point that you want to come in, do please jump in and share your thoughts and views. So going back to Imad again. So we talked about local, regional, and global. So I guess from the response from Suliman Gani, regional extends as far as Morocco. Local, I assume, is just UK, Luton or South London, or and I guess global is South Africa and also Saudi. Is that your view as well? Is that a common understanding?
No, I think what Sheikh Suliman is saying
Yeah.
is reasonably accurate. It's accurate, but I think there's other ways of framing it which will offer more clarity. And Sheikh Suliman is somebody I've known now for 10 years. And the first time I went moon sighting was when I was a student. And the second time I went moon sighting was with Shaykh Suliman Gani, and he showed me how to sight the moon. So, mashallah, I really appreciate Shaykh Suliman Gani. We go back a long way, alhamdulillah. We traveled around the country training people in how to sight the moon.
Yeah.
So, the way I'll frame it isn't quite like that, because some of the language used I find confusing.
Okay.
And I'm a PhD student, and my topic at Cambridge University looks at the topic of moon sighting. So this is how I would characterize it. And before I say that, if I share with you the history, then it's going to be so clear to you, I believe.
Sure. Okay.
Muslims in this country, they, by majority, come from migrant communities. My father is from Bangladesh, and many of us have ancestors from elsewhere. And historically, in those locations, they would look for the moon. And they still do. Sheikh Suliman is from South Africa. They've got amazing moon sighting in South Africa. In Asia, I'm from Bangladesh. They've got very good moon sighting practices in Bangladesh. But when some of the Muslims came here, they began trying to look for the moon. And like you, Zaffar said at the beginning, it did feel a bit cloudy. And when they went to look for the moon, they struggled. And so they sought advice from ulama abroad, saying, we look for the moon, we can't see it. What do you advise the Muslims? Because we can't see the moon here. And the advice was given variously, and there became various positions. But they can mainly be characterized as following a different country.
Right. Okay.
Following a different country. So some mosques, they follow Morocco and South Africa. And this is what Sheikh Suliman is calling regional. It means Morocco and South Africa. His organization is called Wifaq al-Ulama. They follow Morocco and South Africa. I think regional is a very confusing term. And I'll just characterize it as they follow other countries, Morocco, South Africa. Some mosques follow Saudi, some mosques follow Turkey. Some mosques in the past, they used to follow in India, though that's so rare now. So here we are in the UK. The majority of masjids, I would say more than 95% of mosques in the UK, they follow another country. But no mosque in the UK today follows local sighting. This is a proposed position. Today, all of the masajid are following another country. But different countries don't see the moon on the same day, or they may have a different way of arranging the calendar. So if one mosque follows Morocco and another mosque follows Saudi, it's perfectly normal then that we are going to have different dates. Just like if I said, I'm going to follow the Maghrib of Morocco and you're going to follow the Maghrib of South Africa or Saudi, we were not going to do iftar on the same date. So up till now, and up till about 8 years ago, there was no local sighting. And in fact, the ulama I met, and in fact, I didn't believe it was possible to see the moon in the UK because there was this myth, it's too cloudy. And then when we began New Crescent Society and Sheikh Suliman and I began working together, and we began working together in the Greenwich Observatory, we started to teach people, how do you see the moon? And then we found, do you know what? Subhanallah, we can see the moon, but we have to work together. It may be that it's cloudy in Luton, but it's not cloudy in London. It might be cloudy in Middlesbrough where Shemanara is, but Tahir might see it in Bristol. And in this way, when we work together, we have a perfectly normal, ordinary Islamic calendar system, just like we have in other parts of the world. And by the way, that's how they do it in Morocco. They don't do it all for Marrakesh. They have sighters in Marrakesh, Fez, Rabat, wherever. Across Morocco, more than 200 locations. Across Bangladesh, 64 locations. It's ordinary that you work together. So when we found that you can sight the moon, we just tried it again and we tried it again. Now we're 7 years, 8 months in, and we just see the moon. So at this stage, alhamdulillah, we think, believe, know, we can have an Islamic calendar here in the UK, just like they have in Morocco, just like they have in Saudi, just like they have in Bangladesh. But the next stage for us is now to train more people in sighting the moon, and then to approach masajid and say, alhamdulillah, because there was no other way, you followed Saudi or Morocco or Turkey or Tunisia or Egypt or whoever. But we have a new option today. And we think this option is powerful. You know why it's powerful? Because it's the literal activity of the earliest generations of the Muslims from the Prophet ﷺ. They used to sight the moon in their own area. Everybody was doing that up until about 100 years ago. So nobody thinks it's haram. Nobody thinks it's wrong. Everyone says, no, that is the sunnah. And Shaykh Suliman will affirm or not affirm if the sunnah is to look yourself. Of course, to look yourself is literally what they did. And that's why there's no controversy around it. Following this, following that, there's a bit of controversy. And
Right. So let's just bring in basically so I think what we're proposing is that a network of I guess coordinators throughout the country to spot the moon within the UK as they do in other countries.
Exactly.
So Shemanara, can I bring you in? So Shemanara, are you one of these volunteers who attempts to spot the moon every month?
Sorry, I missed that little bit there with the internet connection.
Are you one of those people who tries to spot the moon in the UK every month?
Try to. Every month, of course. When you say one of the coordinators, I've become very active with New Crescent Society, but it's for everybody. And I guess one of the things of being a coordinator is to support other family, friends, just the public to moon sight as well when it comes to the end of the month. So I feel coming back to local, this is really something that makes it very inclusive of a human experience and for everybody to join in, and it's really simple. Over the years, I've felt that there's been disunity, there's been differences, different cultures, and this just brings it together. Because for me, for myself especially, and for those that, well, speaking for those that I know Asif can mention himself, it brings that community. That's what community means. It means everybody that's inclusive that can get involved in moon sighting.
Indeed. And Asif, your experience with New Crescent Society, what do you bring to the table, I guess, to the organization?
So just reiterating what Shemanara was saying, that it's not just us Muslims that can enjoy the moon sighting and finding the New Crescent. Shemanara has had non-Muslims join her. I've had she's had reverts, she's had young people, old people. She's got a much bigger community than I do. But myself, I've had groups of people go out to sight the moon, look for the New Crescent, and for someone who's never done it, it's an amazing experience to experience it yourself.
Right. Okay. So if I could go back to Shaykh Gani again. So Shaykh Gani, what I guess there is a weather issue in the UK, and it's given. And I see Imad shaking his head there. Is there a weather issue in the UK? Can we reliably see the moon every month? Can we develop a calendar of months based on locally UK-based sightings?
Yes, Alhamdulillah, as we understand that the number of months, inna iddat al-shuhuri inda Allah ithna ashara shahran fi kitabillah. Almighty Allah has made in the Quran very clear for us that the number of months with Allah, the day He has created the heavens, the earth, is the 12 months. So now that we understand, like, if we have commenced the month of Sha'ban, all those with the different criteria, whether local, global, or regional, everyone has to commence the month of Sha'ban on one date. It means it's very unique in this month of Ramadan that we all will be looking for the Hilal crescent moon on the same date, on the 29th of Sha'ban, the 28th of February, on the Friday. So now we said everyone is looking for the moon on the same date. But then what's going to happen if we already know and ask ourselves, what about the years or the months before? How do we start our every year Islamic month on the sighting? If it is consistent throughout the year, you would have found, like previous year, the month of Sha'ban did not commence on the same date. But this year, so that's why it sets expectations, because people will then go out to look for the Hilal of month of Ramadan one day before its actual date of sighting. And this has happened in previous years. But the point is, if we follow this process, and there is already a process and a system in place, we have, like New Crescent Society, the effort that they have made to get many motivated, inspired, like how radio inspires. In they said, like our brother Imad and his team, and he has he has taken this on a very different, great level, because he actually had a conference in the Greenwich Observatory, and he brought people together, so many people saying, and the main aim and goal is, why should we borrow the moon and bring the moon back home? I think Imad has a very good point on this. So now you're saying, if we bring the moon back home, and if we do the sighting every month, and it is reported and validated, now it is really beautiful that Imad has been working, supporting Qamaruddin from the York, from moonsighting.org, where there is so much of the sighters who have been trained, and now they report it also. And the ulama panel now look at these reports, and if this system is carried out.
We have a caller. Let's bring our caller in. Let's inject a little bit of excitement.
All right, let's inject it. Yes.
Inshallah. Caller. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Can you say your name first and what your question is, please?
Yeah, walaikum salam. My name is Arsalan. I'm calling from London. And my question is for both Imad and Shaykh Suliman. Now, I'll try and make this brief, but basically, with so many masajid around the UK following Saudi Arabia, one of the issues obviously is that Saudi Arabia have declared that they've seen the hilal before it was or it would have been scientifically impossible to do so. Now, I'm just wondering, I know Shaykh Suliman has also studied in Saudi Arabia and perhaps maybe collected data of, maybe the past 30 years or whenever, where Saudi has declared that they've sighted the hilal when it would not have been possible to do so. I'm just wondering, what would their intentions behind that be? Like, why would they do that? Is there, can we sort of maybe...
Jazakallah for that question. So, Imad, do you want to take that question? We've got about 3 minutes here, so before we go to a break. So, briefly, if you can respond to that, and we will come to that question after the break as well. We want to delve into the reasons why Saudi has been adopted and why the others are beginning to be adopted, basically. So, we'll come to that question a little bit later, and we'll critique the Saudi position too, as well as the other positions, inshallah, after the break. So, quickly, Imad, in about 3 minutes, your response to that question.
The question was, to restate, why do Saudi appear to produce moon sightings which are scientifically impossible? I'll begin by stating the caller is accurate, and that's not me saying that. That's been studied now in academia. There's multiple academic studies about that, and the studies have been done by non-Muslim and Muslim scientists, and even Saudi scientists have produced studies of their own moon sightings from the university saying they're not accurate. And I'm not here to now criticize this country or that country. I'm just making a set of facts. Why that happens, I don't know. I can't tell you. That is a question we can only direct at the authorities in Saudi, and that's beyond my knowledge and grasp. But to Saudi's credit, I will say, their own ulama today, from the historic ones, like the Chief Judge, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, Bin Baz, to the ulama they have today, they tell everybody clearly, don't follow us. That you should follow moon sighting in your own locality, and we are going to do moon sighting in our locality. So anybody looking to criticize the Saudi authorities, I understand, but also their ulama telling us, don't follow us. So we have to take that into account as well. I will say, my dream is that we're going to work together in the UK and solve the problem of the calendar in the UK. And Allah knows best. It may be that due to the works of Shaykh Suliman, Engineer Qamaruddin, yourself, Zaffar Iqbal, and the two sighters we have with us, Shema and Asif, that maybe they will change their mind and they'll say, oh, there is a better way to do it. Maybe we will bring them to do Arafah on the right day. That would make me so happy. But this is in Allah's hands, and anything Allah wishes is possible. But that's my dream and intention, with tawfiq from Allah.
So I think we've still got a minute or so. So you did touch early on about the reasons, and these reasons are historic, why the Saudi observations have been taken. But briefly, why do masjids follow Saudi? Again, if you could reiterate that.
I think there's a number of reasons why they follow Saudi, because they couldn't see the moon in the UK, and they wanted to follow another country. And Saudi felt appropriate because, of course, Makkah is in Saudi. It feels like a place where we are connected to. So I think it was just that kind of reason. Some people have suggested it's because some mosques receive funding from Saudi, I don't have any evidence of that, but people suggest that.
Yeah, I don't think funding has got anything to play with. I think it's more probably the ease of data and the availability of data.
Saudi are
I'm going to have to go to a break. I've got about 30 seconds to go. We'll come back after the break and we'll delve into a little bit detail. We will critique each of the positions, inshallah, after the break. So listeners, stay tuned. This is an exciting subject. I'm sure you want to know the reasons why you are celebrating Eid on a different day to your cousins or your relatives. Inshallah, we'll have some answer for you today. Stay tuned. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back after these messages. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
.1 FM.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ubaidullah Evans. I'm from Chicago. Shout out to Inspire FM 105.1. Keep listening.
Celebrate in style at the Grand Royale, Luton's premier banqueting hall, offering elegance, luxury and seamless event planning. Host up to 750 guests with top-tier catering, stunning decor, photography, videography, hair and makeup, DJ, dance floor and expert event management, all under one roof. Whether it's a wedding, birthday or corporate event, let's witness the happy family moments together. Call 01582 551913 or visit grandroyale.co.uk today.
Established since 1990, Lee Grave Heating Supplies is the largest independent plumbers merchant in the area. And we're the specialist for all types of plumbing and heating, as well as combination boilers and mega flow cylinders. Lee Grave Heating Supplies is your first choice for your new bathroom or complete heating system. Visit our showroom at Shore End Lane, Luton to see our latest range of quality bathrooms. Or log on to lhsdirect.co.uk. We're stockists of genuine Baxi spares and we have a showroom in Bedford too. Lee Grave Heating Supplies. Call Luton 84 86 88.
Simple living is a sure sign of true faith.
You could be driving, you might be cooking, you could even be working. But whatever you're doing, you're also listening to Inspire FM. And if you're in business, your potential new customers could be listening too. So talk to them and let them know what you have to offer. Advertising on Inspire FM is affordable and effective, and by doing so, you're also supporting this valuable and important voice within the community. Right now, there are special Ramadan advertising offers available too. Call 01582 481810 or click on inspirefm.org.
For specialist immigration services, the people to talk to settle a family member in the UK, M&K Solicitors. For all your legal solutions for family, personal injury, clinical negligence, civil and property law, M&K Solicitors. Internationally recognised, M&K Solicitors for local legal services you can rely on. Call 01582 732 503 or click on mnksolicitors.com. Your first consultation is free.
With UK Export Finance, I'm fulfilling more export orders from around the world with working capital support.
Export insurance means I'll get paid when exporting to challenging markets.
At UK Export Finance, we believe no viable UK export should fail for lack of finance or insurance. Between 2023 and 2024, we provided £8.8 billion of government-backed trade finance to support UK exports. Learn how we could help you win export contracts, fulfill orders, and get paid. Search UK Export Finance today.
Allah. Have questions about Islam, looking for clarity and guidance? Tune in to the Ask Imam show on Inspire FM every Friday at 4 p.m.
Join Imam Waz for a full hour each week, where we will dive into important Islamic topics and answer your questions live on air.
Listen, learn, and engage. Tune in to Ask Imam, where knowledge meets community, every Friday at 4 p.m. only on Inspire 105.1 FM.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 6:30.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspire FM. This is Friday Night Live. if you were tuned in before the break, we were discussing, we're discussing moon sighting, but we're talking really historically why the positions that some of the people in some of the masjids in the towns basically have taken, and the reasons for that. We're going to basically explore those positions a little bit deeper in this second half. Hopefully, inshallah, you'll stay with us and stay tuned and listen to us. So if I can go back to Imad again. So Imad, apologies for the break that we had to take. So basically two positions, essentially two positions. I know it's been described as regional and local and global, but two positions mostly will people recognize. One is basically the Saudi position, and the other is other. And other might be Morocco, South Africa, etc., etc. In my opinion, both of them relate to a Saudi issue effectively. So Saudi position is taken. One is for the Saudi position, and the other one is the alternative to Saudi position. That would be my view as a summary. Is that an accurate summary? And why not Saudi, Imad? Why not Saudi?
Well, let's begin with Saudi then, as you've mentioned. Right. Saudi. Some masjids follow Saudi, and I think it's because they appeared convenient, because Makkah and Medina are there, so our Muslim hearts are there. If we're not going to follow the UK, let's follow the Qibla. I think there's a kind of emotional feeling.
Yeah.
Those Saudi themselves told us, don't follow us.
Yeah.
And the reason people today don't like to follow Saudi, and many mosques don't follow Saudi, and Shaykh Suliman, who's on today, he's one of those imams who refuse to follow Saudi, is because it appears that Saudi Arabia's moon sightings aren't accurate. Mm-hmm. They've said that we've seen the moon when the moon has set below the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Said we've seen the moon when the moon is impossible to see. And because of that, it's created a doubt in people's minds that am I fasting when the moon hasn't?
But I think people would ask, how do you know if the Saudis have said they've spotted the moon, they're relying on witnesses, they're following the Sunnah, right? Who and what measure do you take to say, well, actually they're wrong?
That's a fantastic question. A very, very, very good question. The science that we use to know that Saudi are wrong is not new science. It's ancient science. It's astronomy. With astronomy, we have a very good understanding of exactly when the moon is, where the moon is in the sky. I can tell you 2 years in advance when the next eclipse is going to be. How do we know that? So this knowledge is so precise. We use apps today. People are aware that the knowledge is precise and they have it in their fingertips. So I hope that gives some people an idea that it's been known for a long time.
Well, we use it to travel to the moon itself, so it's reliable.
So alhamdulillah, and Muslims are always the leaders of astronomy in the past. Some of the greatest astronomers of all mankind were from the Muslim community. And of course, why not? Our calendar is based on the moon. Our prayers are based on the sun. Our direction of prayer, people used to use the stars to find the Qibla. So for our practical day-to-day living, a Muslim in the past was connected to astronomy. Today, maybe Muslim is connected to their app. But because of that history and the importance of knowledge of the sun, the moon, and the stars for our fard ibadah, Muslims had a very good idea of astronomy. So to answer the question, how do we know? We've always known. It's ancient data. It's not nothing new.
Right. Okay. So motives we talked about, they're wrong because they are getting the information from alternative sources other than sighting. Is that what you're intimating at?
They say we have seen the moon.
Yeah.
And they have said we have seen the moon when the moon is not there. Why? How? I don't know. I will tell you there's one study done by a Saudi astronomer, and he claimed that.
But the point I'm trying to get at is they pick a particular day, right? And that particular day is not a random day. It's picked for a particular reason, right? What is that reason? They must have another calendar they're following.
The Saudi Arabia state has a calendar. It's called the al-Qura calendar. It's an administrative calendar. And the names of the months are the same as the Islamic calendar months. Muharram, Safar, Rabiul Awwal, Ramadan.
And how is that calculated?
That uses a calculation very similar.
Astronomical calculation.
It's a form of astronomical calculation. And the calculation they will use is closer to what we would call the invisible moon phase. Now, if you go to the Qura website, it says on their website, the calculation we use does not match the crescent moon. So their website acknowledges that. But it appears they produce moon sightings which match that. They're using a calculation, but the calculation doesn't match what we call the hilal, the crescent. It's a calculation, but it's like I'm calculating Maghrib 2 hours early. What am I calculating? So it's not a calculation based on the crescent. It is an approximation of something, but it's not the crescent. And I think Sheikh Suliman speak.
Shaykh Suliman Gani, did you want to come in? Did you?
Yes, I just wanted to add by saying that the simple criteria of the Qura calendar is إذا غرب الهلال بعد غروب الشمس ولو بلحظة. If the moon set after sunset, even if it means a minute, the Qura pre-calculated will commence the next Islamic month. That is why you will find whenever there is a claim, the sighting, it's like saying this, one is imkan ru'ya and one is wujud al-qamar. So the Saudi Qura calendar is based on moon is on the horizon. It does not, they ignore all the other factors of the criteria of visibility. For example, they will ignore even the age of the moon. Like now, this year, Friday, age of the moon, if it's around 14 hours, old age moon, what about the altitude of the moon? These are certain astronomical factors, calculations, which are accurate, even almost quite with precision, almost to the second. So if the altitude is so low and the angular separation of the moon it means it's so close to the sun, Saudi Arabia will ignore all that. They will only say the moon is on our horizon. How high on the horizon? How many minutes after sunset? Age of the moon? All the other factors are ignored. So therefore, this.
Why would you bring those factors in? Why are those important?
Yes, because لا يقبل الحساب القطعي. We do not use the astronomical calculations to establish the month, but we have to use this. This is a great ni'mah and blessing to negate those probable and claimed sightings. Do you know in Saudi Arabia there were times they claimed the moon was sighted when it set before sunset. They've revised the Qura calendar and it has improved, but now the criteria using all of the data, astronomical, meaning using all of those who have a track record of sighting, they have found that you can never sight a hilal. You know, if it's less than 21 hours, it's very difficult to sight with the naked eye. If that altitude is so low and you know it's the moon, we already know that Almighty Allah says in the Quran, the moon has phases. So you know that we have 29 or 30 days in every Islamic month. 27 days, you can see the phases of the moon. 2 days, we cannot see it. The moon becomes dark and visible. So it is during this period of time when the moon is not visible to the naked eye. We need to understand what is the criteria of the visibility of the crescent moon. يسألونك عن الأهلة. They are asking you about the hilal and the crescent moon. So this is why it's so important.
Let me ask you this question. So okay. So this is how old the moon should be before it's sightable, etc. Is subject to opinions, I guess. There might be some scientific way to identify that, but it's subject to individual people's experiences, I guess. But the question I wanted to ask is,
we have astronomers. Yes, sorry.
Expand on the question a little bit.
What I wanted to say is, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge. So the astronomers are the specialists in this field. The ulama, they have knowledge of the fiqh. They have all the understanding of the fiqh of moon sighting. So we have to use the knowledge of the astronomers, the people who are the specialists, and make it clear. They have made it clear that this is the criteria of a visibility of the crescent moon. If you cannot sight a moon that is 4 hours, 5 hours, impossible with the naked eye. In the past, Saudi Arabia have claimed we have sighted at hilal when it's impossible to sight. So therefore, they are humiliating and undermining the knowledge of astronomy. We have to bring harmony between moon sighting and also the knowledge of astronomy, and this is how we can move forward.
So okay.
I wanted to bring it to simplicity, if that's okay. I think it's really amazing that we have experts in terms of the technical and the scientific aspect. Islam was made so simple, and I know myself and Asif are here as individuals, but we're not individuals. We're not just coordinators. When we go out to site, There's multiple locations, and there's numerous other people with us. There, like Asif was mentioning, that in my particular group, and it's across the UK when we come to local, that, you know, there's Muslims and non-Muslims. And when I started this journey, my inspiration was my son. This was 5 years ago, and he'd seen the hilal out of, this is how simple it is, from the top floor bedroom window. And I have never looked for it, and I've never seen it. And when he spotted it, showed me where the hilal was, he was 5 at the time. Can you believe that a 5-year-old had seen the hilal in the sky? I was like, oh my goodness. And there was a kind of excitement. It's really difficult to explain, but you have to see it to feel it. What I'm getting at is that Islam was made so simple, and it is really that simple. You don't need any device, any technical equipment, any telescope or anything like that. I think one of the other reasons is why people rely on masjids and committees and overseas, because it's made technical, it's made complicated, and it really isn't. And I've been doing this for 5 years, and some months I've seen it and some months I haven't. So I just wanted to bring it back. It's like a lost practice, and there's two, like you say, there's two positions. There's local, and the other one I like to say is outsourcing. And my question to the listeners, to the audience, is why follow somewhere else when we can actually see it locally and it's been proven? I mean, there's other people that have seen it many years more than I have. I know, I believe Asif's been following New Crescent Society a lot longer than he's actually joined New Crescent Society. So that's my question to the listeners today. If we can actually see it locally, why would you follow somewhere else? Why, if we can see it locally, why can we not celebrate each month, you know, Muharram, Zaffar, Ramadan, and Eid together? And that's what's on this journey has inspired me. And I felt before the 5 years, there's been disunity. I followed different groups. I followed Saudi mosques, I followed Morocco, I've followed family, I've followed friends, and there's been division in terms of different ethnicities and cultures. So that's my question, you know. And if we can see it here, why follow somewhere else? And it's very simple, you know. You just use your eye.
It's a fair question. Sheikh Gani, I just wanted to sort of before we move away from this particular subsection of the program, I just wanted to ask you, I'm an ordinary citizen, basically. I want to book my holidays next year. I want to find out when Eid is going to be. Waiting until the month before may not be appropriate for me, right, to sight the moon. How is all of what we're talking about today solving the individual, the person, the user, or their position? How does one know when to book their holidays for Eid and et cetera, et cetera? So you're on mute.
You're on mute.
If you're following Saudi Arabia, then the problem you're gonna, is you can easily book your holiday. Don't delay, book today. Whenever you find the moon set after sunset, then what you're gonna do, the month will commence.
It does give certainty. It does give a little bit of certainty, right? Because
sorry, that's not even fully accurate, because don't follow their own calendar. There's been time like this.
Let me just finish this point. But what I'm saying, when you're saying about certainty, that is the reason why we have the effort of local sighting, because you cannot leave any Islamic month except with certainty. And we have found that you can still predict and make a Hijri calendar based on visibility criteria. And you will find that, like in Morocco, where they do the sightings, you can actually have a track record and know exactly when they will commence the month of Ramadan, when they will be Eid. Like this year, we found that the dates will match. The dates in local sighting will be same as Morocco, meaning on the 1st of Ramadan. And Imad can correct me also, we find that it will match also on the day of Eid. But we also have seen that the moon sets after in Saudi Arabia, meaning they will also, they will commence even there's a possibility they will do Eid one day before its actual date. Based on this criteria, the pre-calculated Qura calendar is simply, if the moon sets even 1 minute after sunset, even 10 minutes, or even they will, and somebody claims they've sighted it, they will declare the month. That is the criteria, and they said that we have to follow, accept the testimony of one or two. So
I'm
that is why
I'm
we are
getting,
that is why we are doing group sighting. Let a large number of people come together and go out to do the sighting. So you leave that which is doubtful where there is no doubt in it. You cannot leave an Islamic month like Ramadan and enter into the month of Shawwal if that hilal, if the month is not complete. And also with Sha'ban, whomsoever is going to start their Ramadan on the day of doubt, whoever fasts on Yom al-Shak, faqad asa Abul Qasimi, as in the narration. So when it comes to the 29th of Sha'ban, and Saudi will declare on an impossible sighting, month of Ramadan will commence, and then it's going to have an impact on when do you search for the night of Laylatul Qadr. So it will also affect your ibadah. So you cannot leave the month of Sha'ban except
I've
with
got a call
certain.
I need to take. I've got a call I need to take. Jazakallah. Apologies for that. So, Assalamu alaikum, caller. Can I have your name, please, and your question? Caller. Okay, they're gone. All right, apologies for that. So what? In summarize, what you're saying basically is that it is possible to calculate a calendar with a certain level of certainty based on the sightability of the moon as compared to the birth of the moon. That's what you're saying, and the sighting then basically validates the calendar. And this is something, Imad, you have produced. This is something that your society has produced.
We have, and we do, and it's fairly accurate.
Right.
But I'm not going to say our prediction is 100% because it can be cloudy. And if
Sure.
you think about the words of the Prophet ﷺ, and Shaykh Suliman will verify, if it is cloudy when you go and look for the moon, then you complete the 30 days. So when for us it is cloudy, we follow the words of the Prophet ﷺ, just as they do in Morocco, just as they do everywhere else. Bangladesh has 4 months of monsoon season. They don't see the moon, and they'll just do 30-30. No problem. This is the sunnah. But you are right in saying we can have a fairly accurate calendar. And to be honest, cloud has not really been a problem for us for quite some time.
Sure.
But we can't.
Okay, let's move on to the other criteria which is used by some masjids, which is to follow Morocco. To be honest, right, not many masjids follow local at the moment, which is, I guess, the intention is to encourage people to follow the local sightings, etc. But it's usually default. Saudi does it one day, so we'll do it a day after, or Morocco, sighting in Morocco, or South Africa. So what's problematic if Morocco has a fairly decent, I guess, system of sighting the moon? What's problematic about using Moroccan data?
I would offer, firstly, I'm not saying following any position is wrong.
Okay.
Any fixed position. So with Morocco, this is what is missing from Morocco. Number one, when you want to have unity, as Sheikh Suliman has said many times, unity is found in the Sunnah. Those mosques who follow Saudi, when I speak to them, they don't say, yeah, we're going to forget Saudi and follow Morocco. They say, we're following Saudi. Why would we follow Morocco or any other country? But take us to the Sunnah, we're with you. So unity is with the Sunnah, not with Morocco. The second problem with following Morocco is that it's not our phase of the moon. If we ponder, why did the Rasul Sallallahu tell us, look at the moon? Look at it. And when you look at the moon, make a dua. Did he tell us this for no reason? I believe in the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. I believe there's a reason. He told us, go and look at the moon. When they asked the Prophet Sallallahu, and Shaykh Suliman can correct me, can we calculate? He said, no. Look at the moon. So when we are leaving and saying, okay, you do it in Morocco, we are outsourcing and we are losing connection with ourselves. We are losing connection with the heavens. And it's a big problem.
I also want to, Imad, I also want to add my experience with regards to Morocco as well, because obviously I've followed the different, you know, the groups, and then decided that New Crescent Society or local moon sighting is for me and for everybody else to bring unity. It's the closest one to unity. With Morocco, what I find is the following: is there actually people here who do look for the hilal. So in effect, it's local, but it's not quite local. What happens on the 29th, if they don't see it, then they revert to Morocco as the country and see if Morocco have seen the hilal there. If they have, then they'll follow Morocco. But what happens as a default fault is then the following month, they're probably citing on the incorrect date because they've already extracted the sighting from Morocco, but then making it local. So it's kind of fitting one country's hilal to another country. It's like squeezing that in. So that's why that
Basically,
doesn't fit
it's
for
a
me as well.
sliding baseline. You're saying, yeah. So the baseline gets interrupted when you do the calculations. But technically speaking, isn't Morocco within the time zone and the region, so to speak, close enough to the UK to be able to follow it if they've got a? I get your point about the fact that why outsource something when you can enjoy the sunnah yourself. But if they are reliable, if they provide the information, why not follow Morocco?
I think there's two things, and Imad could better explain this. One is that my question comes back, if we can see it here, why follow somewhere else? And secondly, is the visibility curve. I think Imad be able to explain that fantastically.
What Shema's saying is the wonderful point. If we can find unity, it will be with the Sunnah. And those mosques that follow Saudi will never follow Morocco. And those mosques who follow Morocco will never follow Saudi. But all say yes, but we agree with the Sunnah. Today, no mosque follows local sighting because we haven't presented it. We're just trying to build it ourselves. And alhamdulillah, we're here. We're moving slowly to the next stage. But in terms of following Morocco, the problem with it is it's not the same moon phase as us. You know, you're talking about time zone. Time zone is a man-made creation about the time, GMT. Morocco is, it's GMT, but that's not the moon. Is the Maghrib the same as us? Just because we're in the same time zone? No. We have to be with our... Allah put the sun, the moon, the stars in our sky for us to look at. There's something to it, my brother. If we ponder on that, there's something our ancestors, they understood it. They never thought. Do you think Muslims didn't have astronomers in the past? Muslims had the best astronomers and they never abandoned moon sighting. Is it because they didn't know astronomy? No, they looked. Because this is the order of the Prophet ﷺ, is connected to who we are as human beings. It's our fitrah. To connect to that which Allah has taught us to connect.
So you talk about phases. How is it different from the UK? How is it in a different phase? Geographically fairly close to the UK. How is it different?
Can I interject here?
Yes.
Morocco do not see the moon on the same day as us. They see it most of the time earlier than us. Therefore, it's not in the same phase as us. Just like me saying Morocco's Maghrib is earlier than us. Okay, they have the same GMT, but the Maghrib isn't the same. And they don't see the moon on the same date as us. So therefore, we can't say we're that aligned. We're aligned sometimes, we're not aligned other times. So
what about South Africa then? South Africa again.
South Africa is in another part of the world. It's in the southern hemisphere, and their moon hasn't got the same phase as us. You know who's got the same phase as us? Wales, Ireland. That's it. You can't go so far.
But also, I think Kamaruddin was saying that the Earth tilts basically, right? So in one season, the South Africans see it much earlier than us, and in another season they see it much later than us because of the tilt of the Earth and how the
Earth... tilt of the moon. Because the tilt of the moon, and you'll witness this over 19 years. That's a complex point, but he's right. That sometimes they're earlier, sometimes they're later. Just like our Maghrib. Wow, we're going to have early iftar now. But I remember 10 years ago, we were doing summer iftar. It changes. So the consistency is when you're consistent with your own thing. But from my perspective, it brings unity. I don't want to criticize Morocco. I don't even want to criticize Saudi. I want to say, let's connect. Bring the moon back home. Bring the sunnah back into our lives and see what happens. Asif wanted to speak.
I was this point about the moon being seen. I recall this beautiful occasion that happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. It was the 29th of Ramadan, and the Prophet ﷺ went out with his companions to go and look for the moon, for the new crescent of Shawwal. And it was a negative sighting, so the Prophet ﷺ said that we'll be fasting 30 days. During the night, there were some travelers that were coming to Medina Sharif. And in the morning, they arrived after Sahari had taken place. They arrived during the day. All the Muslims were fasting. And these travelers said that we sighted the moon as we were traveling into Medina Sharif. during the night. And the Prophet ﷺ then asked, would they testify to that? And they said, yeah, we'll agree to testify to the sighting. And when the Prophet ﷺ took their testimony, he commanded all the companions to break their fast, and they celebrated Eid the following day.
We've got about 30 seconds. We need to go. I want to thank each and every one of you. Jazakallah khair. To be honest, it's been a fantastic show today. I really learned a lot, and I hope our listeners have learned a lot as well. Jazakallah khair, Imad, Shemanara, Asif, and Shaykh Suliman. Jazakallah for your time. Listeners, until next week, Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.